I'm Guinness record holder for memory, Dave Farrow, and this is Brain Hacker. The modern world trains your brain to fail. We try to shape it for success. So, most people don't realize this, but we spend a huge part of our lives in a zombie like state. I know I do, especially if you're ADHD. We walk, we drive, we move through routines, and our mind is somewhere else entirely. Man, I can't tell you how many times I intended to drive to the store and I just drove on my regular commute because I've done that 1,000 times and my brain just shuts off and kind of drives on autopilot. So, if you've ever left the water running, left the stove on, driven a halfway to work when you meant to go somewhere else, you know the state I'm talking about. You're not stupid, you're not flawed, you're on autopilot. And of course, if you have ADHD or something like it, it's much more common. Don't be ashamed of it. This is who you are. But here's a brain hack that'll help you out. So, the other day, I got into my car planning to drive to the grocery store, and then 10 minutes later, I realized I was in that office commute. My hands knew where to go, but my brain wasn't involved. When you're in that state, you don't make conscious decisions. You reenact patterns, and your old habits run the show. But the solution is incredibly simple: interrupt the pattern physically. So your brain ignores familiar sequences. When you get into the car, you buckle your seatbelt, it basically does the next most logical thing in the sequence. And then you just keep going until something stops you. Like Marcus Aurelius says, what stands in the way becomes the way. So what I do is I place something literally in the way that forces my awareness to come back online. I'll make an association to my car door, or I'll put something by the door to my office. So I know when I'm done filming, I've got to go, take care of something right afterwards. It forces me to kind of come back online and pay attention in a way that nothing else seems to do. And I'm going to tell you the story of one of my students. He was a warehouse delivery driver. He would drive all over a town. It was the last mile driver, if you know what that is. And he would drive all over town, dropping off these deliveries to different warehouses. And every single time he was under a lot of intense pressure to complete his route very quickly, but he kept forgetting signatures. He had to get the signature of every place they dropped off, because if somebody said, hey, you didn't drop it off, and you don't get their signature, there could be some really expensive consequences here. So it almost cost him his job. And the solution wasn't more pressure. That actually made it more likely to forget. The solution wasn't ridicule or shame or anything like that. And it wasn't willpower either. It was a pen. That's right. He got into the habit of keeping a pen in his pocket. When he got up out of his driver's seat, he would put the pen on the seat. Eventually, he just actually drove with the pen in between his legs. Every time he got out of the truck, he would leave the pen on his seat. And then, of course, he would go through his regular routine, drop off the stuff, and he would go back into his driver's side cabin. But then he would sit down on that pen, or he would hopefully see it just before he sat down on it. And immediately, because it's a pen, it would remind him to get that signature. And man, I can't tell you how powerful this tool really is. I know it seems like clutter and stuff. I've driven some people crazy by leaving things out, but this pattern interrupt thing is absolutely essential if you're ADHD. And shame on you if you move somebody's pattern interrupt. That can be really, really difficult. So I've had times where I've got something, in the oven. So I'll put an oven mitt in front of me while I'm working, or, I've got something I've got to do, first thing in the morning. So I'll throw my shoe out to, my bedroom door so that I'll trip over it when I wake up in the morning, and that'll remind me to, do something important. And this is very similar to the whole, string on the finger thing. The problem starts to become that you put a string around your finger to remember something important, and you forget what that important thing is. So that's where memory techniques come in. You want to associate whatever it is you have to remember to that pattern interrupt. So if I have to wake up in the morning and call my friend Ted, right, I will throw that slipper out and I'll imagine a teddy bear inside that slipper trying to break free or something like that, right? Or if I have to, sign some checks first thing in the morning when I get into my office, I'm going to imagine on my office door a bunch of checks just being, stamped on there or burnt on there, something like that. So once I touch that doorknob, the link will pop into my head. If you're ready to learn how your brain really works, well, that's why I wrote Brain Hacker. Because your brain is not broken. The world is. Brain Hacker is over 55 brain hacks for things like canceling cravings to stick to your diet, sleeping better, speed reading, sharpening communication, increasing IQ, and of course, better focus and memory. But it's also in story form, so it's easier to learn, following how I went from being an ADHD dyslexic kid at the bottom of all my classes to rising so fast they thought I was cheating, to breaking Guinness World Records from memory and building businesses around the world. It's all based around one core idea that life is shaping your brain to fail, but brain hacks train your mind for success so you can thrive in the modern world without being consumed by it. So buy Brain Hacker today, and with proof of purchase, you actually get a discount on my other courses and products. And then consider joining brainhackers.com, where over 1,000 members so far are sharing their brain hacks from their life. See you there. Now, I stopped doing the slipper thing because my dog kept on grabbing the slipper, and then, of course, that ruined the link. But there was one time where I had to wake up in the morning and call my accountant. It was like a first thing in the morning thing, and I was so tired. I could have picked up my phone and made a note or something like that, but I just was so tired. I was just drifting off to sleep. I knew if I got up, I would have difficulty falling back asleep, and I might, wake up my partner and things like that. So I reached for the only thing that was right beside my bed at the time. And believe it or not, it was a fully articulated Spider-Man action figure. Yeah, because I'm a fun guy. I've got a toy beside my bed. What of it? Huh? You want to make something of it? Say it in the comments. But anyway, so I threw that out to the middle of my room and I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning and I stepped on that figure and it hurt. And I immediately remembered why I threw that out, to call my accountant the next day. So I've used this 1,000 times to save my life and save my butt. And I hope you use it as well. If you like these brain hacks, check out brainhackers.com as well, or my book, Brain Hacker. See you next time.